don't seem to like Havarl very much.
Havarl's other regions suit me just fine. But here... oh no. I don't do well in this fierce wilderness. You think these shelters keep you safe? They don't. Woke up this morning and found a thorny vine wormed its way into my bunk. Into my bunk. Into my bunk.
Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. My name is Old Man Hitch and this is 20 hours with Mass Effect Andromeda. First off, I'd like to apologize for the long pause between videos and to let you know that I've got several games to make videos about in the coming weeks and days, including Ghost Recon Wildlands, Sniper Elite 4, and a few more. Aside from being lazy and not making videos when I had time, I've had a lot of life stuff to take care of, and hopefully I'll be able to get back on a regular posting schedule. Something like 3 to 4 videos a month is my goal. So enough about that. Let's talk about Mass Effect Andromeda. It's developed by BioWare and published by EA. It retails for $59.99 and also has a deluxe edition for $69.99. This video will contain some minor spoilers. I have played close to 30 hours of the single-player campaign on Insanity difficulty, and I feel like I've only barely scratched the surface. The game is quite frankly massive, no pun intended. And it also has a multiplayer component which involves pubs or groups of friends in a wave clearing game with variable objectives for each wave. If you're unfamiliar with the Mass Effect universe, that's completely fine, and you can pick up Andromeda and not really miss a beat. I would spend a few minutes on a wiki to familiarize yourself with the different races of aliens so you have an idea of what is what, but other than that, this is a completely standalone game from the first 3, and you're not going to miss anything. The setting is outer space, and human beings and other alien races from the Milky Way galaxy have traveled across deep space on a 600-year journey to attempt to colonize the Andromeda galaxy. You play as either a male or female Ryder twin, and you are the son or daughter of Alec Ryder, who is the human pathfinder in the beginning of the game. Pathfinders are basically the head honchos in charge of exploring and picking out sites to colonize. In the prologue, your father dies, and you take the mantle of Pathfinder. Almost immediately, you realize that the new planet you are tasked to explore is uninhabitable. So you take your ship to meet up with the Nexus, which is the command ship and the central hub for the entire mission. It contains thousands of people in cryosleep, waiting to be assigned their new home planet. Once you arrive, of course, everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. None of the other Pathfinders have returned, and all of their ships are presumed lost. There was a mutiny, people have been exiled, an entire race has abandoned the initiative, which is the name of the mission, and struck out on their own, and any attempt to colonize anything has failed. They're running out of supplies and energy, and the situation is quite bleak. So that's the plot. You, as an untrained, inexperienced Pathfinder, are here to save the day. The gameplay loop is exploring solar systems for resources and transforming inhospitable planets into worlds that people can live on. You do that by completing various missions and tasks on these planets and unlocking secrets of an ancient technology. There is an enemy race of aliens called the Ket that is also trying to study and use this technology, and they are immediately hostile and basically treat you as an inferior species that needs to be destroyed. So far in my playthrough, the Ket and the robots that guard the alien technology are the only major enemies. But I know that further on into the game, you'll end up having to face the exiled mutineers from the Nexus as well. So that's the story. How does it play? Well, there is a lot of outrage across the internet, mostly about the state of the animations upon release. Another complaint I see quite a bit, but not as prominent, is the amount of bugs people have encountered. Let's talk about both of those for a second. The facial animations during cutscenes simply are not very good. Things like strange eye twitches, creepy doll expressions, distorted features, and improper emotional expressions have been noticed and well documented. I've heard that you can limit some of those problems by choosing certain facial features in the character creation over others. Also, I've noticed that most of the videos and GIFs that highlight a lot of these issues are using the default female character. I've personally been playing with a custom male character, and I don't really notice anything abnormal that, quite frankly, I wouldn't see in other games like Fallout 4, for instance. And that's only when I really try to focus on it. I guess what I'm trying to say is that although I see some of these issues on occasion, I don't feel as if it's as big a deal as most people who are complaining about it do. It's just mildly annoying to me. It certainly isn't worth all the drama that it's caused, and I'm saddened by the reports that BioWare employees have been harassed and threatened. If you don't follow these kinds of things, you might not have noticed that Andromeda's facial animations have been a big storyline for months. Just a quick Google of the phrase Mass Effect Andromeda facial animation 2016 will give you articles from just about every video game news media website out there like PC Gamer, Eurogamer, Polygon, Kotaku, and the list goes on and on. Most of them dated around December 2nd or 3rd, and most of them focused on the response to the trailer that was presented during the Game Awards. And they also contain a couple of interesting tweets from BioWare employees on the subject. Mostly that they will be polishing the game up until release, they're aware of the problem, and this one by Aaron Flynn, who mentions that those faces are customizable, not just actor scans. I mention that only because it's interesting, because a few days ago I read some tweets from Jonathan Cooper, a former BioWare employee, who had this to say: "Were I to design a conversation system now, I'd push for a workflow based on fast and accessible face and body capture rather than algorithms." He goes on to use Horizon Zero Dawn as an example of facial motion capture that isn't perfect, but he considers it a success. I don't know if that's the answer to this debate. Ultimately, I'll definitely leave that to the professionals to decide. But this task might have been too much to take on for BioWare Montreal, who were essentially making their first full game as a studio. Now let's talk a little bit about the bugs. This is actually a fairly buggy game on release. I haven't experienced anything game-breaking other than one crash to desktop, but I've had quite a few instances of my character getting stuck and bogged down in invisible forces, running into invisible walls, enemies that get dropped out of a shuttle and get stuck in the sky, and probably my biggest annoyance so far is when you initiate a cutscene sometimes, the camera will zoom into the floor or a table or the person's shoulder and it'll just stick there while the conversation goes on, and it's really awkward. You can't see the interaction between the characters. You're just stuck looking at this table or whatever. You can still choose the conversation options like normal and the game goes on, so like I said, there's nothing game breaking about it, it's just annoying. So if you're fully on the Mass Effect as a train wreck bandwagon, you might be saying to yourself, well, this guy must just be a Mass Effect fanboy or something because this is outrageous what they've done. Well, not really. I never played a Mass Effect game in my life until a couple months ago when I played the entire series on my stream. And I complained and moaned through each game about various mechanics and technical decisions that annoyed the crap out of me. It's still fresh on my mind as I'm playing Andromeda, so I'm not a huge fanboy of the series by any means. I was a huge fan of the Old Republic games, however, so I am familiar with BioWare and how they make games. Also, I love open world games, I love role-playing games, science fiction is my favorite genre, so this game happens to be in my wheelhouse, but that doesn't mean that I would automatically dismiss any of its problems. I just think that all of the animations are janky and there's quite a few bugs. It's still a really good game. It's worth the money in my opinion. In fact, I don't think those two issues are the game's greatest flaws. The overall design of the menus, the unintuitive UI, the questionable decisions made to artificially draw the game out, or in other words, the pacing of certain aspects, those are the things that bother me more. So let me jump into the game real quick and we'll talk performance and I'll try to show you some of the problems that I just mentioned. So here we are in Eos, which is the first major planet that you're trying to terraform and colonize. I'm still rocking the 980 Ti for at least another month, but Andromeda still runs very smooth on last generation cards. I can get an average close to 70 frames per second at 1440 resolution, with highs in the 80s, occasional lows in the 50s. Here's my current graphical settings. Texture quality ultra, texture filtering ultra, lighting and shadows and effects are all medium. The only thing lower than medium is the mesh quality. Everything else is high and medium. So not too bad. I've experienced really nice performance for such a beautiful and detailed game. Just if you look at how far you can see and how detailed and everything looks so far away. And I think if someone tells you this game isn't beautiful, I honestly don't know what they're looking at. Here's just some close-ups shots of some textures that I took. They used the Frostbite engine in this game, which is the same engine they used to create Battlefield. And that was also used for FIFA 17 to make some realistic-looking crowds. It's a heavy lifting engine, and BioWare has taken great advantage of its abilities. I'm even surprised at how fast the game loads. Just for fun, I launched a couple different games to test out if I was right. I started my timer as I pressed play. I stopped when the title screen would allow me to press a button. By the way, I realize this is a very unscientific comparison because every game has different tasks to accomplish on startup, but just for fun, here's the results. Sniper 4 Elite took 29.41 seconds to start. Ghost Recon Wildlands took a whopping 1 minute and 10 seconds to start. Battlefield 1, another Frostbite engine, game took 48.12 seconds to start, and Mass Effect Andromeda loaded it in about 18 to 20 seconds. So, I was right. What I was noticing was right. And look at one of the little bugs you can see that my companion Cora here is in the ground. She's, yeah. So that's just kind of the stuff you might run into, but it doesn't affect the game in any way. Watch. As I move her over here, now she's out of the ground. So she just sunk it in the ground there for a second for whatever reason. So what I'm trying to get at is that performance hasn't been an issue for me on my system. Obviously, your mileage will vary. I mentioned that I feel that the menus are poorly designed and unintuitive earlier. So let me just show you a little bit about what I mean by that. So if I press M, it'll bring up the map just like every other game you'll ever play. However, exiting this map isn't just as simple as pressing M like every other game. No, you have to press escape. But, look, pressing escape doesn't take you back to the game. It takes you back to the menu that you would get if you just pressed escape from normal. That might seem like a petty problem, a petty complaint, perhaps. But it's very noticeable if you're having to open the map a lot to find quest locations or something like that. Additionally, the journal where they keep track of all your quests is a mess. I hate using it. I almost always use the map to select my quests because I find the series of folders to be not very functional. For instance, if I go to the additional tasks folder here, and where's a good one? Where's a good... let's see... Cultivation. Here's a good one. Collect 10 plant samples. Does this mean 10 plant samples from any planet? Certain planets? What planet can I get this from? Because if I highlight it and back out, go to my map. Okay, there's one here. All right, so there, it worked. But if I go to, let's see, medical supplies found. Okay, highlighted that one. Go to my map. I have to go get on my ship to go somewhere else to do that. But it doesn't tell me that in the journal. It should, I feel like, tell me that. There's just not enough information sometimes. Let's see, what else? Here's another issue I ran into early on. I bought a new weapon from a vendor. I went to my inventory. Let's see, where's a good example? Here's shotgun. I cannot switch to this weapon. I have this one currently equipped. But I can't switch to this one. And I didn't know why. And it took me 10 minutes to figure out why. And I actually didn't figure it out. I just gave up. Because there's nothing telling me why I can't equip this. Now, if you have played this game, you know why you can't equip it. It's because... But if you haven't played it, you'll be just as lost as I was. It's because you have to go to these little doohickeys over here. Or back to your ship. But if you get in your ship, you'll actually take off and go up into space for some reason. It won't just let you go onto your ship because it's stupid. I don't know. Anyways, you have to come over here and change your loadout. And now I can come back to the shotgun and switch it out. Why they don't tell you that you're doing that wrong without this loadout screen, I don't understand. I don't understand why. And And that's another thing is I don't really quite understand, or I'm not on the bandwagon of that I need this loadout to begin with. I think the reason why this is because they want to make it so that your loadout is limited to just a couple weapons, so that if you run out of ammo mid-fight, you can't just switch out to a different class of weapon and keep fighting. In other words, if you choose to leave your base with a sniper rifle and a pistol, and you run out of ammo mid-fight, they don't want you to just be able to change your sniper rifle to an assault rifle and just keep fighting. Now, you can unlock more weapon slots. Let me show you. And currently, I can take 3. I could get a 4th by getting Combat Fitness 5. Alright. But increasing the number of weapons that you take increases or decreases the speed at which your powers recharge. So right now I have a negative 17% recharge speed penalty because I'm taking too many weapons. I would love to just drop my pistol, but it doesn't do very much. I would have to drop my shotgun and just take sniper rifle, pistol. I don't know. It's a pain. I don't understand what exactly they're trying to accomplish here, other than just to be annoying. Overall, I found the menus to contain unnecessary button presses, with confusing, unintuitive layout, and with very little to no information or tooltips to guide you. Another example of this is it took me 3 attempts to create a character, because the first time I didn't realize you could manipulate its facial features, because those choices are located at the top of the screen and kind of out of the way for whatever reason. There's no progression of character creation. Like, you don't choose a face and then that takes you to another screen where you pick its features. No, it's all on the same screen. And the second time I forgot to change my name and choose my class because the progression of the character creation is not step by step. Again, it's all located on the same screen. So either you remember to do it all at once or you're going to miss something, and it doesn't warn you, hey, you're leaving the character creation without naming your character. You'll just get the default name and the default class. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. My other major complaint so far is rather minor, but it's still there and it bothers me. But the survey and travel process, I believe, is intentionally and artificially drawn out with regards to how long it takes to travel to different spots in each solar system. I believe it's done intentionally so you can't just fly around gathering up a bunch of resources and experience very early on. But there's an easy fix to that. Just limit the resources or don't reveal too many solar systems at once. And there's also better ways to gate content than making a player sit there watching an unskippable cutscene. I just don't care for it. Set my people free, BioWare. Let us skip the scenes. I don't really want to discuss the story too much, but just so you know, it starts very slow. It gets more interesting and more compelling the more you play. I found most of the companion characters to be likable except for 1 or 2. I feel like some of them just don't mesh well with my playstyle, and I can't alter their combat style in any way, so I just leave them on the ship every single time. I end up running a lot with Cora and Drac 90% of the time because they're the ones that will charge in and draw a lot of aggro with their abilities and just lets me sit back and snipe, which is what I want to do. Now, one interesting thing you can do with this game is switch between classes on the fly. Like I've been playing with Infiltrator. I could switch to Soldier real quick, which will give me extra weapon damage, weapon accuracy, damage resist, weapon clip size, and grants an escalating damage bonus for every target killed in a short period of time. However, just switching classes doesn't change your anything else. Like, I'm still stuck carrying the weapons that I picked when I left the loadout screen. I still have the abilities equipped. So if I switch to a class that maybe is better at melee, but I still have my infiltrator abilities. I just don't feel like that's as great an advantage as they want it to be. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I think I've gone into a lot of depth about what I like and what I don't like. Some other things that I didn't really get a chance to talk about, but that I really do like is the crafting system. It's fairly in-depth, and although the menus are going to drive you crazy again because they're just, I don't know what they were doing there, but overall, I really enjoy this game. It's very good. I think it's well worth your time. It's well worth your money. I hope you give it a shot. I hope I've helped you come to a decision, yay or nay, because that's all I really want to do. And so let's see. My name is Old Man Hitch. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you do, and stay tuned for more videos just like this one. Have a great day.